workers in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And to have this shutdown extending as the longest shutdown ever has been extraordinary for so many Virginians. People are going without paychecks. They're worried about mortgages and rents. They're worried about how they're going to feed their families. The challenge of this government shutdown is real. And I am incredibly understanding of that challenge for all Virginians. And I think it caused quite a turnout yesterday. With that said, that's why we have been so focused on making sure that, particularly when it comes to providing food assistance to the most vulnerable Virginians, we're just not going to let that get interrupted. And I call on our senators to vote to open the government and then sort this thing out. But this has been an incredibly disruptive time for Virginians to see the government now shut for over a month, to see our military worry about whether they're going to get paid, our air traffic controllers and TSA folks at the airports not getting paid. But again, we have 330,000 government workers in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I can't imagine how disruptive this has been for their families. And so I do believe that had a major impact on yesterday. Yes, sir.
Governor, prior to the shutdown, there were federal layoffs as well, and I know your office was supportive of the DOGE cuts. Do you believe that there should have been a different type of messaging from Republicans in your office?
Yes, so again, there will be pundits who opine on this, but I can only repeat my general belief, which is, first and foremost, I am very understanding of the pain that being laid off means. I've said many times, my father got laid off twice when I was growing up. Our job is to create jobs in Virginia, to make sure that people have pathways to extraordinary lives. And that's what we've done. We have 277,000 more people working today than when we started. There's hundreds of thousands of open and available jobs. There's $143 billion of commitments from companies to expand in the Commonwealth. That's as much as the last 5 administrations combined. That underpins another 85,000 jobs and 40,000 construction jobs. At the end of the day, that's what we have to focus on. And the disruption that I know that so many families have felt, we have tried to meet with opportunity to find new pathways and new careers, and to help them in that transition, where we have had training support. We continue to have training support. We continue to have access to all of our unemployment benefits. And I, once again, believe that the future in Virginia is underpinned by our economic and business growth. And at the heart of the Commonwealth's future has to be growth. And therefore, business-friendly environments, therefore making sure that companies know that they will find the best operating capabilities, the best talent, and the best way to be successful in Virginia to continue to grow has to be at the heart of every administration. And that's why I've been so focused on it for the last 4 years. Yes, sir. Dave.
Governor, you're going to finish strong. There are a couple of very big things hanging. Medicaid forecast, re-benchmarking, the Safe Kids initiative. What are we going to see in the next couple months?
Well, of course, I've got one last budget to prepare. And I have said recently that people who believe that Medicaid spending is going to go down have been misinforming everyone. Medicaid spending is going to go up. And that is a commitment in order to support Medicaid recipients. How much it goes up, we're still working on. You may have seen in the recent report that I believe that the overall rebenchmarking is inappropriately affected by the poor performance, operating performance of one of the managed care organizations, which has skewed the overall Medicaid reforecasting. We're going back and assessing that to make sure that we're not allowing one poor performer to drive up costs unnecessarily across the whole system. Second of all, there is a fair amount of waste and abuse that I'm really worried about, and fraud. And so we're digging into that so that we can come back with what will be $1 billion plus a year, I believe, in incremental Medicaid support. But I want to make sure it's the right number. I've said over and over again that Medicaid is not going to be reduced. It's going to be increased in Virginia. And the big question right now is what's the appropriate amount? That's what we're working through.
Safe kids?
Yeah, again, with Safe Kids and K through 12 education. These are our big areas of making sure we get it right. Again, the Commonwealth has seen a surplus already through the first 4 months. I can't opine yet on October's results, but we've seen our first a continued surplus. That has allowed us to take on the parallel SNAP benefit program, which is literally mimicking the SNAP benefits that are not being paid to Virginians today. But it also allows us to be in a position to take on some of these responsibilities. But the key to everything is to make sure that we are doing the right work to assess the right amount of incremental spending for Medicaid, the right amount of incremental spending for K through 12, because there will be incremental spending, and the right amount for Safe Kids.
SNAP, yeah.
And for SNAP. Well, for SNAP, what we're going to see in SNAP are two things. One, and I encourage everybody, call senators and tell them to open up the government. I've said this over and over again. Vote yes on a clean CR, get the government open. And so the supplemental SNAP benefits that we are paralleling, of course, will end. But bringing down the SNAP incremental costs by reducing our error rates is a top priority. There's no reason why Virginia should have an 11% error rate in administering SNAP. And so we have had a massive transformation effort underway. I issued an executive order to do exactly that. I believe we will bring down the SNAP error rate and therefore not have to effectively pay the penalty that comes with having a high error rate. The degree to which we can bring it down is what we're working on now. Of course, the goal is no errors, but we were running at an 11% error rate, so we've got real work to do. But there's real opportunity for improvement. Emily, hang on, come right back. Yes, sir.
Governor, a lot of Republicans, including the Lieutenant Governor, ran on the idea of keeping the good times going, referring to the successes of your administration. Given the fact that the Lieutenant Governor lost by 15 points, Republicans are on track to lose more than a dozen House seats. Is it possible that Virginians don't see your administration the same way that you do?
Well, I believe that Virginians thoroughly support what we've been doing. I mean, at the end of the day, when people say, is the state heading in the right direction, people say yes. So bottom line is more jobs, safer communities, excellence in education, making sure that we are taking care of your money because it is your money. We've run $10 billion of surpluses and we've had $9 billion of tax relief. As I said, I firmly believe that particularly the government shutdown was a very, very big challenge as we ran into this election. We have 330,000 government workers here that weren't getting paid. That is a real challenge heading into an election. And therefore, I, again, encourage the Senate to please open the government because Virginians are hurting. And it's time for the government to get back open and then for you all to do your work. Thanks. Yes, sir.
Now, what do you think, excuse me, the results from last night will have, what kind of impact will that have on your future political ambition?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I've said since the day I was elected that people have been always asking me about my future political ambitions, and now I'm 4 years in and you're still asking me the same question. And I will repeat to you the exact same answer I've given. My focus has been, will be, and will continue to be on the Commonwealth of Virginia up until the last second I'm in this position. And we have been focused for a reason, that we have felt and I think demonstrated that common sense solutions work. When you create a business-friendly environment, reducing regulations, and strategically recruiting businesses, you can drive economic growth to a level that's never been seen before. And as I said earlier, the $143 billion of commitments from companies to grow here is more than the last 5 administrations combined. We have seen a fundamental shift in Virginia's economic growth from government to the private sector. And it's been not just headquarters, it's manufacturing and logistics and R&D all over the Commonwealth. And it has stretched from Virginia Beach to Lee County and from Danville to Loudoun. That is huge. And the future of the Commonwealth will continue to be to make sure that we have the most business-friendly environment in order to attract jobs. I'll remind everybody, 70% of our budget, 70% of our budget every year is driven by individual taxes. Driven by individual taxes. And therefore, to have a strong revenue base, you have to have a lot of Virginians working. And therefore, when we have a lot of Virginians working, we run surplus after surplus. That requires jobs. And if I have one great piece of advice for anyone who is serving in governor, whether it's Governor-elect Spamberger or 10 governors from now, it's we must continue to drive economic prosperity through job creation. And that is at the heart of everything. It's the heart of everything. We have a Virginia where people get to choose what businesses come, which ones don't, whether people want to live here or they don't. And those are really clear measures. And when we're able to attract a lot of business because we are a right-to-work state, we have extraordinary talent, we've invested in making sites ready, and on top of that, we are able to once again work from administration to administration and maintain that foundational principle of being business-friendly, Virginians thrive. And that's the heart to everything. That allows us then to have record investments in K through 12 education like we've done, where we have literally increased per pupil spending since before the administration today by 50%. It allows us to have record investment in law enforcement, record investment in taking care of God's gifts to the Commonwealth, and also $9 billion of tax relief. This is a really, really straightforward, common sense formula that works. And I again feel strongly that this is a template for moving forward, whoever the governor is, in order to make sure that Virginia continues to have this vibrant opportunity system that provides jobs, jobs, and more jobs.
Perfect. Time for one more.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.